Blunt Cuts is a podcast fueled by creativity, curiosity, and empowerment.
We cut through the daily mess of life. This is unfiltered honesty.
Park your passive at the door. This is Blunt Cuts. Welcome to Blunt Cuts. I'm CJ, and today we're talking about unique style and how to exude confidence with it. Welcome, guest Emily Kanz to the studio. Hi, Emily.
Hi, thanks for having me.
There is one person, and that's you, who every time I go somewhere or I'm out and about and I see you and I'm like, she has the most unique style. So
Oh, thank you.
that is why you're here. Your style is impeccable, and it's always so refreshing to see. I'm always excited to see what's Emily going to be wearing.
Oh, well, that's nice. I just want to be different and wear things that are just authentic to who I am. So I'm always trying to push boundaries as far as how I choose to layer my clothing and patterns and textures and things like that.
And you're so good at it.
Oh, thanks.
So excited you're here.
I'm very excited to be here too, to talk about standing out in a crowd and personal style.
It's going to be amazing. So let's get started. I love a unique style, and it's always a conversation starter for me. I think I see someone across the room, like, oh my gosh, they look amazing. I need to know who they are, or if it's someone I already know, I'm like, I got to go talk about that dress because it's phenomenal. So that style with that unique quality always grabs my attention. So
I agree. I always feel like when you're out and you see somebody with something on that you find intriguing or catches your eye, it's also a really great way to, it's a conversation starter, like you said. So it's a really great reason to come up and compliment them and maybe pick their brain about where they found it or how they concepted the outfit to put together. One thing about my personal style that I truly own as best as I can is I don't give one literal fuck about what anybody thinks about me personally.
love that.
Or what I have on. And letting go of caring and letting go of those insecurities.
Yeah, it's so awesome to be able to connect with someone based on that outfit's amazing. And we've all walked into events, and I know you. I mean, I go to events alone a lot of the time. My husband is not in the scene, and he would like to stay as far away as possible. So a lot of times it is a fun way to like just break in as I'm walking in the door. Like, okay, that person looks awesome. I need to go talk to them at some point tonight. Like that's on my checklist of, okay, that's going to break some ice for me to feel comfortable. Cause yeah, even though I'm in and around everyone, all these scenes, like I still have that like butterfly moment when I walk in somewhere alone. That's a very real thing for me. So
Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, it's going out to an event and always constantly mingling with the same group of people and not necessarily putting yourself out there, being able to have that love of unique and a little outrageous style. For me personally, I can resonate with that, and I want to be that person's friend.
yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and speaking of your outrageous and unique style, let's talk about that. Let's talk about your kind of style journey and how you got to where you are.
Sure. So I personally am just very curious about people and human beings in general, and my fiance Mike will always comment on how we'll be walking around anywhere and my head is on a swivel constantly looking at people's clothing, and I'm generally very underwhelmed by what I see. And so when I do find something that someone has on that I just love, or how they chose to layer it, or I can tell that it's probably from another country, I get really excited about that.
I'm with you. So, okay, we have this rule when we go into restaurants, my husband and I, that I have to sit looking towards him and away from looking at the crowd, because if I look at the other tables, he's like, you don't even know you do it, but you get lost in the other humans in the room because you're just so enamored by like people. I'm like, I know, sorry, guilty. I am such an observer, and probably to like a creepy way where people are like, why is that lady looking at me? But I just get so excited when I see like awesome style or that just confidence from another human. I'm like, I have to know more. I need to know their story. I'm like such an eavesdropper.
Yeah. I also find it inspiring, and like I gain ideas, and I can feed off of that and look at how they chose to do something. And I've been doing this for about 7 years. going out and looking at how somebody did something and then thinking, how can I make that happen within my own closet? And what pieces come to mind right off the top of my head that I could do that with?
Yeah, that curation into, oh, that's a cool idea. And I can make that Emily. That may be layered with neutrals, but I'm going to layer sequins. Emily, if you don't know her, look her up. She has some of the most colorful style, I would say, in the Twin Cities. So
thank you.
You always make me happy when I see what you're wearing.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about that idea of confidence. I think one of the biggest things for me, I have a very minimal style and almost uniformed every day, but to me, my confidence has come in feeling good. And you mentioned at the beginning that the feeling good and not really giving a fuck about what anyone else says. So talk to me about that. Talk to me about where you think like that confidence comes from, so we can let people who maybe aren't as confident in their style tap into some of that.
Yeah. So I think that confidence just comes from you being a confident person to start with. And the clothing, I think the clothing comes second. And so it's almost like where it's like creativity marries a confident person. And then you get somebody that's really willing to go outside of the boundaries and do something really different. And I mean, I hear women say all the time, like, Emily, I don't even know. I wouldn't even think to do that. Like, well, why would you put a tulle skirt over that old vintage dress and make it look youthful? And I don't know how I think of it. I just look at my clothing and I think, oh, well, have I ever thought? And it's fun for me to be able,
yeah, of course.
like, not.
Well, you're a stylist, so
right.
that helps, right?
It does.
This is your natural, like, talent in
yes.
life.
However, if you do it right before an event, it can be very, very, very stressful if you don't have anything planned to wear. But if you do it in a very organic way, taking things and marrying them together, and then it just comes from being comfortable with who you are. And then also, this is my medium. You just said you're a stylist. I'm good at this. I know I'm good at this. My best girlfriend is a makeup artist. I can't do that. I can't do my own makeup.
My gosh,
I mean,
me neither.
I'm not good at it, and I don't do hair. Like, this is, if you ask me to show up, don't ask me to do anything else but the clothing, because that's what I know and that's what I'm good at. And so I think the confidence just comes from, and also just I do want to make a statement with my clothing. It's like my art form.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, and confidence, I think, comes with time, and especially confidence in style comes with time, and it comes with trying things that you're like, I am so uncomfortable in this. Nope. That is on my checklist of that did not make me feel great. So finding those pieces and those moments, and check yourself, like, have some self-evaluation when you're out wearing what you're wearing. Does this make me feel good? Like, am I exuding from the inside this idea of happiness and fulfillment? Right. Those are your confident pieces. Right. So whatever that feels like, embrace that. Do you like when people compliment you? Does that fill your cup? You know, I think for most of us that is a helpful, like, icebreaker or a cup filler, right? So, like, what are those times, and when do you feel really great about what you're wearing, and tap into that, and then orchestrate a closet of that happy.
Right. So, and then this also reminds me of, like, curating, a closet or closets or racks or however you choose to keep your clothing, your collection of clothing. When you are shopping, wherever you choose to shop, make sure that it's in a very emotional experience. Like, when I shop in thrift stores, I have a cadence to when I go in, and if I've been to that thrift store before, I'll always make the same trek around it. It's almost like a spiritual process for me to start at the shoes and then move to dresses and then end up in jackets and maybe peruse shorts and then end in jewelry. It's weird to say out loud.
No, but that's really good. Like, you have a process, and like letting others know about that's what we're here for. So.
And it's cathartic for me to be able to go to these places and be looking for something that's, I was in Unique Thrift Store. I was in Savers on Central yesterday in Columbia Heights, and I was looking through the racks, and I actually said out loud, what the fuck is this? Or what the fuck is this doing here? And like, it was odd. It was something weird. And I got really, really excited about it. And I was just like thinking, like, what if somebody was like watching me?
They probably were. And that's all right.
But you know, when you say that and when you hear yourself think that, something good is coming, and you're having this guttural emotional reaction to something that you're going to love and that you're going to love to wear, or you're going to love to maybe piece together with something else and make your closet even more eclectic than it already is, adding in a sibling into, your family.
Yeah, you're like, you made me feel this feeling. I don't know where you're going to be yet, but you're coming home.
Yeah, exactly.
So have some feelings with your clothes, people.
Can't explain it.
It's a real thing. Once you start tapping into your emotions, or maybe we're just a group of crazy people, but literally, once you start tapping into the emotions of what you're wearing, I do think your clothing will start to have feelings, and you will find pieces, and they'll start to have an energy about them. And,
agree.
That's magic. So I think there can be those times where our style feels a little bit different than a room, or that idea of, wow, I thought I was wearing the right thing, but I missed the boat. Quite literally, last week for me, I was on a boat with some beautiful friends and people that I hadn't seen in a long time, and I came in like the most ultra casual outfit with my blunt cuts ball cap, and I was like, I'm so excited to see my friends. I feel great. I don't care. And then I get on the boat and I'm like, everybody is in beautiful color, and their dresses are waving in the wind, and I'm like, God damn it, at least I have a hat to keep my hair from being a crazy fucked up mess. But I'm like, I missed an opportunity to wear something fun that I have in my closet. Boo me. I should have checked myself and said, this is going to be a boat with all my fun fashion friends. Of course they're going to be in cute things. Anyway, so I felt a little bit of oh man, a FOMO maybe. It was a real life moment of I'm missing out on the opportunity of being cute and fun and
expressing myself,
expressing myself, because
sure,
I was just
way.
in my uniform of day to day, and I didn't take that opportunity to have fun. So I felt a little bit of a dig on my confidence level. I'm like, oh, wah, next time, but I moved on through it pretty quickly. But let's talk about those times of uncomfortable fashion decisions, or where we are in the sea of other people.
Yeah, I definitely I've had a lot of change in my life within the last couple years, and I just started a new role with a new company, and it's definitely a different caliber of professionalism and the people that I work with, and the role that I was in before this let me feel like I could. It was a very creative role, and I wore every single piece of thrifted and vintage clothing that I own in every
at the same time.
The CFO came up to me one day, and she just laughed at what I was wearing, and she was like, I just love how playful you are with your clothing.
That's
and it
amazing.
was a really lovely compliment, and I just felt like I was truly myself, and through my clothing. And in my new role, just because it's just a different culture, and the company is really refined, and I sometimes in the mornings I'm finding myself in these almost angsty, panicky, I don't have a lot to wear that's professional. I mean, a lot of my clothing, I've invested curating my closets into being things that represent me.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I
think work and dress code and those things can really shift that idea of personal style, but then there is a culture or a company look, right? And you're going in meetings, and your company, you gauge that. You gauge the room, right? And you gauge that first visually from a style perspective, because that's your zone. Yeah, I have some of those similarities too. I'm a little bit on the other end. The company that I'm at has this summer super relaxed, wear whatever you want as long as you don't get arrested, or you won't get arrested. That's literally in the handbook what it says. And I know I laugh. And it's just the sea of the creative nerds, right? We study behavioral economics paired with communications, and how can we create a creative campaign around the science behind human thinking, right? So this is the mecca of nerds. So everyone has Star Wars t-shirts and shorts and flip-flops, and I'm coming in thinking, when is summer over from a style perspective? Because I do not own shorts. I do not own flip-flops. So I just be me and I wear what I wear. And like sometimes I'm very overdressed in the sea of a meeting, but it's sounding like you're feeling slightly opposite in the sense of not that you're flip-flops and shorts and Star Wars t-shirts, but you're coming at this from I used to be able to wear all my wonderful colored vintage and now I'm in the sea of suits and heels and
everybody kind of looks the same. It's monotonous and it's really under-inspiring. And, so I really have to figure out an elevated form of my personal style. And I've talked to a good girlfriend about this recently, and there's some really great boutiques you can shop in and still be able to hold on to that kind of wild, wacky style, which is my own, but then
absolutely
refine it so it's more grown up.
There's just a few classic pieces that you add to Emily life, and then you feel like you culturally like fit. But I mean, I want to explore this a little bit. So they hired you, like for you, right?
Right.
So why do you feel like there's that shift that you want to make? Like,
it's the first time in my whole life I've never felt confident in what I was doing and what I was wearing, and it's ridiculous, but it shook me up. I mean,
no, it's a real thing.
It
right?
really felt like I didn't really know who I was if I wasn't able to show up in what truly makes me happy, because felt like I was going to be judged a little bit based on what I was wearing, and I want to be professional and I want to come off professional. I'm good at what I do. I need to find a way to compromise these things, and I will. I just need it to be genuine to who I am.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you're right on with that exploration of, this is all about being real, right? Like you don't want your outfit to constantly be the topic of conversation in a way that isn't helping a scenario where it's like, oh my gosh, let's talk about what you're wearing versus the business goals and how you can help us achieve those. Like if someone is always just fixated on you're looking this way and I only want to talk about that with you, and you're wanting them to talk about
right
other things, like is that part of it? Or
right. And I also don't want to be the topic of any workplace, like, ooh, look what's going on over there today. Woo, how did she get that together?
Oh my God. I kind of love that, and I think you should just embrace that and be like The Office, like spectacle. No, I feel where you're coming from, and I think that it is a journey as young professionals, as we really are growing into this. I think it's funny because you don't realize you're there until you wake up one day and you're like, shit, I have 15 years experience. Wow, I'm the leader now. When did that happen?
Right.
Like I was just trucking along, being me, and all of a sudden, wow, now I'm like in this executive scenario, and what does that mean? And how do I still be me through this sea of expectations? And
right. And how does my appearance play in that whole thing? I mean, does that still make me respectable because I choose to come to work in a vintage dress?
I say yes.
Yes. But we got to think about it,
But this is me, and I say yes. But I've also been in those scenarios where I've had leadership comment on, this is this sort of meeting, and this is the attire. And I love when people can be so candid and say, the attire is a 3-piece suit today. This is who we're talking to. This is the attire, and this is what it is. Like, yeah, give me those rules so then I can formulate who I am through that. But like, be upfront about that. Mm-hmm. Like, let's talk about it. Like, is there an employee like handbook, or does each meeting? Because at our company, each meeting, and depending on who the client is, dictates like that wardrobe. But it's a constant, like as we're prepping for client meetings, that's the ask. That is, we throw it on the table and we say, okay, guys, what's the attire? No one wants to talk about this topic, but let's talk about it so that no one comes to the meeting feeling like an outsider. Right. We want to be a united front. We want to come together and like win this business. So let's talk about it. Like it's a thing. We all have different personal styles, but let's talk about like, how do we come together? And maybe that's like everybody's got a Star Wars t-shirt and Christina has to go shopping. But you know what I mean? Like I think any way you can be honest and upfront about like the expectation too, that would take some nerves away from like employees. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I straight up asked my boss if I could start wearing some of my more eclectic pieces, and she was like, "Hell yeah!"
see, I think
So it's
I think
me.
so too.
It's me.
But and that's the thing. Like, if it's you, you do it for you. But
Right.
like, don't do it for anyone else, right? Like, you're doing it for you. And I think that that's the distinction here. You're not doing it because you're feeling like you have to. You're doing it because your body is saying, I want this feeling to go away, and I'm going to try this and see if that helps, right? Like, you're just working through those stages, and that's a human thing. And you'll get there. I'll help. Like, what do you need? Come on over.
I just know that I can't stand casual Fridays, and I don't wear jeans. And so when people wear jeans to work, I own one pair of jeans, and I can't stand them. They sit in my closet.
Club with you too. But it's so funny how like my husband is the ultra casual, so he's down that journey of I don't understand you and why are you dressed up? We're going, to the mall with the kids to.
Yeah.
Like, or to the zoo. I'm like, what? I'm just wearing clothes. Like, these are my clothes.
Yeah. This is like going to make me.
I'm wearing clothes that fit me and that look how I want them to look. So,
Exactly.
Yep. I realize it's hot outside, but I'm still wearing black.
I am the most impractical dresser ever. In the middle of winter, I'll be underdressed. And in the middle of summer, I'll be completely overdressed. It doesn't make any sense at all. I get teased. My fiance teases me all the time about it.
That's all right. I mean, a little dewy sweat.
Yep.
But that doesn't hurt anyone.
He's like, really? 3 jackets and a kimono? Really?
You're like, but the color.
I know.
But it's the color. No. So ultimately, like, I think that is a really real thing. We go through these stages of extreme confidence with what we're wearing and feeling good. But then when those get shook up a little bit, like how do we react? And what do we do to make ourselves feel like we want to,
Right. And I think a lot of women feel like they don't necessarily feel confident in what they can pull off and what they can wear. And so I never understood that until I felt it for the first time. And as anybody knows, you can really only truly relate to something through a shared experience and empathy. And so I get it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think some of the biggest learning lessons from today, I really do believe in a non-conforming stance to those around you. But like, I'm hearing you today and I'm feeling this. And so, but I think that standing out is a conversation starter. That idea of unique style to me is so impactful. So that's me. Like, I think it's empowering to be an individual, to stand out, and that will, in the end of the day, be memorable. So that's my take. And so stand out, guys. That's my take. But
stand out anytime you can.
Stand out anytime you can.
If something speaks to you emotionally and you feel like it might be something a little bit out of your comfort zone, but you love it, buy it. Just buy it. Don't buy anything you don't love. But if you love it and it makes you feel any certain sort of way, put it on your body and wear it and love it.
But thank you so much for coming in and being you and sharing unique style perspectives with Blunt Cuts. We really, really appreciate having you.
Well, I appreciate being here. And if I can leave you guys with a lesson learned, try shopping and try exploring for pieces if you are unsure about what your personal style is, or you want to get out there and you want to try something different. Try exploring and shopping in a place that you normally would never go. Like Hunt and Gather would be a really good place. It's in Edina, and they have vintage clothing in the basement. And sometimes it's just like one small piece, and try wearing it on a day that you don't really have a lot going on. If you don't feel super confident in wearing it out to an event, wear it somewhere like to like a family meeting, or if you're hanging out as a group, like a family dinner, or to the grocery store, like I said.
You may surprise yourself in this story of pieces that are out there that are a little bit unique, and you may surprise yourself on how much you do love having a unique piece. So great tip. And yeah, my lesson learned, don't worry about conforming to those around you. Find those things you love and rock them. Having that individual style is very empowering, and feel good and then go do good. I think that's the biggest thing I can take away from all this. So thanks for hanging out with us. We'd love to hear how you express your individuality through style. Send us photos. Find some of those pieces like Emily talked about. We want to see them on Instagram. You can find us at Blunt Cuts Podcast.